So, the Nine Realms. Here's something you might not know about me. I really like How to Train Your Dragon. As a kid, I was always terrified of movies, to the point where one of my earliest memories is having to walk out of the goddamn theater during Happy Feet because the ice scared me. Yeah, I don't know either. But for the first 7-ish years of my life, I could just never finish a movie because for some reason, they scared me. But one day, my parents put on the first How to Train Your Dragon movie, and instantly it became one of my favorite things in the world. I showed it to my friends the first opportunity I got, and soon after I watched the second movie, that became my favorite thing as a kid. I scoured every library to find as many DVDs of Riders and Defenders of Berk as possible, so I could rewatch the episodes as much as I wanted. School of Dragons was my favorite video game for years, and I religiously binged every episode of Race to the Edge the day they came out on Netflix. When the third movie was announced, I counted down the days until I could go see it in theaters, and when I finally did, I came out of it crying like a child and happy and content with the ending of a franchise that would always hold a special place in my heart. And then this fucker was announced. I have so many questions, most of which include, why did you make this? Why does he look like that? Why did the characters look like that? Why did you make this? Why does the animation look so goddamn weird? Why did you make this? Why is the dialogue so awkward? And most importantly, why the fuck did you make this? Well, I mean, to the show's credit, I did think Season 2 was a lot better than Season 1. Not by a lot, and it still wasn't good, but it was also less infuriating and more of just boring kid stuff, I guess. So, I mean, I guess that's a win. Good job, Nine Realms. You didn't completely fail at everything. I'm so proud of you. Nevertheless, ever since I watched Season 2, I've been wanting to reanimate some parts of the show. Not necessarily because I think I could do any better. I mean, I don't love the animation in this show, but I'm far from a professional, and I definitely cannot do better than an actual studio. This was mostly just for my own enjoyment and practice. I actually redesigned the main cast beforehand. Again, not necessarily because I think these new designs are better than the originals, except maybe Jim, why the fuck are her eyes purple? But just as an exercise. I don't know. I like the color coordination, I guess. The shot I'm reanimating here is completely random. I used a random number generator to give me a season, an episode, and a minute within the episode, and then I just chose a shot within the minute. This specific shot is from Season 1, Episode 4, where D'Angelo is trying to tranquilize a dragon to heal it, otherwise known as the Viking for Hire ripoff. Speaking of which, here's a fun exercise. Let's go through the currently 13 episodes of the Nine Realms and count up how many episodes can be seen as direct copies from material from the original How to Train Your Dragon franchise. Let's see, we can add the first 3 episodes of Season 1 for just being the first movie, and then we can add maybe Dragon Club for having the same concept as Live and Let Fly from Defenders of Berk, along with the aforementioned Viking for Hire moment, and then definitely Fall Ripper for just doing the ending of the first movie and having that dumb fucking line.
Ow! That's for scaring me to death.
But what about everything else?
You will never be Hictred. Stop trying to be Hictred. And then in Season 2, we have Dragons of the Undead for doing the same thing as Bad Moon Rising from Race to the Edge, along with maybe Unicorn for having the same premise as the next big thing, and finally the Tangled Web for basically just redoing Hiccup as Snotlout in Turn and Burn. So in just 13 fucking episodes, we have 5 episodes that are just blatant reuse of the previous plot lines in the franchise, and 8 episodes if we're talking about episodes that just use the same general concept. That is over half of the show. Wow, this is such an original series that they put a lot of effort into writing. Now once again, to be fair, Season 2 was better with this. However, I would like to argue that I actually enjoyed watching Season 1 more. Not because it was better at all, it was so much worse, but solely because it was so infuriating. Season 2, however, was so fucking boring that whenever I wasn't actively going to cardiac arrest or laughing my ass off over Buzzsaw, I was so aggressively bored that I ended up just watching the second half of Season 2 at double speed. Let's see. The kids get trapped in the spider web. How exciting. Dr. Slutbitch, or whatever her name is vaguely bad and should not know about the dragons. Wow, I am riveted by the stakes here. Tom is keeping a secret from everyone for absolutely no reason. Wow, how absolutely interesting. Kill me now, please. To the show's credit, I did actually like some things, like Alex, and I thought some of the humor wasn't too bad. Oh, never mind, that was just because Alex's mind were funny. Never mind. Anyways, the main reason I wanted to talk about this is mainly to bring out something that I pinpointed as my main problem with the show. Because as much as Season 2 bored me, this is all secondary to a general, wrong vibe, I guess. As much as I love the other Dragon shows, I'll be the first to admit that Race to the Edge and Riders and Defenders aren't exactly perfect either. They're They have a lot of problems, some of which they even share with the Nine Realms, but I fully believe that the reason I'm more willing to overlook these flaws in the other shows, more than how much they stick out to me in the Nine Realms, outside of just nostalgia, is because the fundamental idea of a How to Train Your Dragon story set in the modern day just doesn't work. The original franchise is set in the Viking period. We all know this. It's so deep-rooted in what makes How to Train Your Dragon what it is, that I'd argue that it is just as important, if not even more important, to the franchise's story as the dragons themselves. Everything about the universe, from the archipelago setting, to the characters' personalities, to the words and phrases that everyone uses, to the names, to the villains, are all shaped by the fact that this is set in the Viking Age. Hell, even the greedy animation was to this point. I cannot imagine How to Train Your Dragon in a world where we take the same plots but put it in the modern time period. It's like taking Lord of the Rings and putting it in modern times, or taking a book like Divergent and putting it in the Middle Ages. Theoretically, yes, the same story could still work, but you're taking away what's an essential part to the original media, and I truly believe that putting How to Train Your Dragon in the modern age has just as much of an impact on the story as removing the dragons would. Hell, a show taking place after the third movie where all the dragons are gone would still feel more like How to Train Your Dragon to me than the Nine Realms does. The Nine Realms is just boring and it's just a generic kids show. And yes, Rescue Riders was also that, but I mean that's not part of the same universe, so that doesn't count. Is my opinion probably biased because of my fondness for the original franchise? Yes, definitely. But I genuinely think this is why the show is so off for me. And yes, of course I know why this is made. DreamWorks or Universal or whoever's behind this doesn't care for the artistic integrity of their franchises. Whatever. And I guess I do prefer something like this that's so far removed from the original characters I do care about, rather than a lazily put together show that butchers Hiccup or Astrid or anyone that's important to me. So, I guess there's that. Anyways, I just wanted to get my thoughts out on this. If you love the show, good for you. Genuinely. I'm glad you do. I just don't. Maybe season 3 will be better. Who knows? Oh god, it's coming out in August? Oh yeah, here's the final reanimated shot. I don't really like the artwork or the anatomy, but I kinda like the animation itself. Everything after the roughs was done in a single sitting one evening, so it's somewhat messy, but that's okay, I guess. Here's the version with all the process shots in the original clip. Now if you'll excuse me, I'm gonna go watch Race to the Edge to remind myself what a good Dragons show looks like. Peace.